been my client for over 3 years, and she trusts me with her hair. As you can see, it's very healthy, it's growing, and one reason is because she gets her ends trimmed on the regular, and she does a lot of protective styles such as braids and sew-ins and things of that nature. But in order to keep your hair healthy and growing, you have to get your ends trimmed. So my client has very thick hair, as you can see, and I always like to start by dividing my client's hair into 3 sections. I'll start with the back, and then the middle, and then the front. This just keeps it organized for me as I continue with my braids. Sometimes I start in the front, sometimes I start in the back, depending on how I feel that day. But doing these sections, it just makes it a little easier. It lets me know how much I have left and how far I've gone, throughout the whole process. So I like to section it off before I start braiding. Usually when I do braiding styles, I like to use the pre-stretched hair because it saves me a little time. I already have to divide the hair into small pieces, so if it's already pre-stretched, that's just one less thing I have to do throughout the process. I like the Expressions brand, but as long as it's Kanekalon, you should be able to use it. But that's just what I use. You always want to make sure your client's hair is good and moisturized before you start the braiding process. And I use blended oils that I made myself, and it works. Start my knotless braids in 3 sections, just like I would a regular plait or a regular scalp braid. And before I do my first rotation, I always add braiding hair from the root, simply because you don't want your knotless braid to have thin roots and then a thick braid. You want your foundation to be just as strong as the rest of the braid. So I always add hair the moment I start the braid. Depending on the size of the braids that you're doing, you want to gradually add pieces of braid hair into the braid so that it stays uniform and it doesn't look too bulky or too thin. You want it to look natural and you want it to look uniform throughout the end of the braid. So as I said before, you want to start your braid in 3 sections and add braiding hair as soon as you start braiding. You want to continue gradually adding small pieces of braiding hair as you braid down, because you don't want lumps or bumps in your braid. You want it to continue to stay flat and uniform throughout the length of the braid. don't have a thick braid on a thin foundation. From the root to the end of the braid is flat and uniform. So that's how you want it to look. So sometimes when I get to the end of the braid, my client's natural hair will start to stick out. And when that happens, I just take a little jam and just comb it through until my client's hair starts to blend in with the rest of the braid. So this is a close-up of me braiding. This is the best I can do with the camera that I have, so I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I start with 3 sections and gradually add small pieces as I braid. I'll do a rotation and add a small piece, do another rotation and add another piece until I have 3 pieces of braiding hair added into my braid, if that makes sense. But depending on how thick you want your braid, you just gradually add in the braiding hair. And you don't want your braids to be too tight. You don't want to cause too much tension on your client's scalp, so you should be gentle throughout this whole process. Again, you don't want to cause too much tension to your client's scalp, especially around the edges, so just be sure to be careful and be gentle throughout this whole process. Just make sure to add small pieces of braiding hair and try not to pull or cause too much manipulation to your edges, because baby, we need our edges. Edges matter. this entire process took 7.5 hours. I washed her hair, conditioned, blew her out, trimmed her ends, and braided her up. So this was an all-day process, but it was well worth it. The braids came out beautifully. My client loved her hair. I was very satisfied with the results, and they came out perfect. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Please follow my Instagram, like this video, share, subscribe, do all of that.